I know this is late, and it'd be technically, if you're watching this, it might not be Saturday anymore, but we are doing the tier list for you guys to enjoy. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So as I promised, there was going to be a tier list. So let's start it off. We have Garurumon. So this deck has gotten shot left and right. It just hasn't had the best time in its life. I definitely think it's pretty good into the tier 2s, but it's just not going to handle the tier 1s that we have coming at it. So I definitely think it's a pretty solid deck. Phoenix Birds. This deck just got new support in the Garurumon in BT-23. Garurumon is going to help. So yeah. Imperial Dramon. Definitely a solid tier 2 deck. I wouldn't call it a tier 3, but it's still possible to get the wins and Ws that it needs. At the end of the day, it's up to the player base to understand how the deck operates and everything. But to be honest with you, Blue-Green Imperial Dramon, still a very solid deck you can take to a local level or into a decent major event and actually still quite do well. I wouldn't think high tier events, but at least for the store regional level, I think you'd be fine. Buggy Boy, Tyrant. I'm gonna be straight honest with you, it just needs better support at this point. It's just not keeping up. Purple and black base Darugumon, it definitely has fallen down from that tier 2 category I was trying to keep it at. I'm just saying this now, it just needs better support. The functions that we are coming across are just way too fast, and yeah, I think that's where we're at. We're gonna say tier 3 for Rapid. Rapid's pretty decent, but there's just some overarching issues that it hasn't been able to overcome. And I think we're just good, but it just needs better support. Magna X, still pretty good, needs a bit new support. We are going to see people play promos, but again, this overly protective body has now had so many outs in design. Now it's leading to the point where, you know, raids almost in every keyword. Everybody can kind of just give a blanket minus to this thing. It just doesn't stick longer as it used to, you know? Ancient Garu, definitely solid, but definitely needs some new support at this point. Competitively wise, it has fallen off the wagon. It's just not appearing as much. Purple Hybrid, definitely think it's still a solid tier 2 deck. Purple Hybrid just has the abilities. It still has the ability to mill. It has the ability to still apply aggression and control the board. Multiple protections is its only bigger weakness, but at the end of the day, it's gonna do what it wants, to be honest with you. Dynasmon, the new Dynasmon just rare CS card really gave this deck some TLC. Do I think it's gonna scream that one card is gonna make this deck a solid tier 2 contender? Probably not, but for being classified dead deck, just give it better support, I think it definitely moved to tier 3. It's just good, but needs a bit more. I think the one card was the step of the right direction, but long-term wise, I don't know if we're going to actually see it be hyperly played. Lord Nightmon, this is purple base design. This one is pretty solid. I think it definitely holds up with the meta or gatekeeper for locals, and or just in generalization, right? The deck has a lot going for it in the right direction. Millenniumon, even though getting one promo a couple months ago, it's good. It just needs to get, I would say it's a tier 4 deck. Just give it better support at this point. Hopefully we'll get some more, but yeah, it's just where that's going. D-Reaper, even though it used to be very solid option, I think even though it got another one card, it's just, unless you're playing medievals and the ban list hitting it with the Mother Shoto restriction, it's just not ending well. Red Purple Imperial Dramon, definitely seeing some tops at this end, but the fact of the matter is we are walking into something called LM set. This is vitally important. This is still going to cover the LM set as well. This Red Purple Imperial Dramon, I definitely think is going to move right to tier 1. That memory boost is exactly what this deck needed. Being able to grab both red and purple means now that our weird pure red cards are now grabbable by our mem boost. Eventually we will get cards that are like the trainings for dual colors, which again we're starting to see a small trickle in. We'll eventually see them in the premium Bandides. It'll probably be 2 sets, maybe 3 that we get them, and then boom, we're gonna have a complete set of trainings that are dual colors that can help us grab pieces that we need. So yeah, at the end of the day, pretty solid. Good, definitely needs some more support. I wouldn't say it's tier 2 anymore, but Giga Seedramon definitely starting to move down. Protect the Turtle. Jesmon deck, I would say, is here. Tier 2, the Genkumon version, just the pure turtle. Splashing it in Jesmon is super good. To be honest with you, Jesmon has been taking locals by storm in JP. Hasn't really topped any major events, but so I'll definitely put it in tier 2 category. Could easily go into a tier 1 if players really feel like that. I think it's very solid. I don't think it'll ever be less than tier 2. I know that there was occasions that I would think that it's moving into tier 3, but it just still ended up being tier 2. The new K option for Fenry Luga. This is just an generalization to any Fenry Luga version that is old version or the Ace Takamazuchi. It's options, right? At the end of the day, I think that's where it's going to go. Adventures, even though Adventures got a new promo, I think it just needs a little bit more. I think the promo is the step in the right direction, what the deck needed, but it's just not enough. Rail Knights, I'm going to be straight honest with you, just watching it play, still pretty strong. Even after the hits, a lot of players have adapted their list into the right format that they want. Medusamon, definitely going to say just give it better support. Can be fun to play with, but at the end of the day, tier 4, tier 3 are definitely fun decks to play with, right? Shine Greymon, I would love to say it's still tier 2, but tops wise, it has gone down a little bit. The meta is just a little bit quicker, but if you're playing Digital Gate Open, I want to be very honest with you. It might be enough to push it back into tier 2 and keep it there for a bit more. Galacticmon, very powerful card. I definitely think it's a tier 3 deck. I mean, you could easily argue it's a tier 1. I mean, tier 2, but it's come down a lot. The meta has shifted so much that Galacticmon is struggling a little bit. And again, as time goes on, these things happen, right? We do have Megidramon, which is just Gila Loop rush the deck. So it still exists. Megidramon still exists, but again, a lot of players have gone off it a little bit, which is completely understandable, right? So I definitely say it's tier 2. I wouldn't put it tier 1 to be straight honest with you, but tier 2 is fine. Red Hybrid still does a lot of good work and still puts in that effort. I think it's pretty solid tier 2. I don't want to put it any lower than that. We're taking a look at the Shoutmon deck, Crosshard deck. Pretty solid at tier 2, I would say. Same thing with Davis's Armor Rush. I definitely think we're kind of in the same boat as Magnet X, right? This is just strictly same thing with the rapid Flamedramon promo being reprinted and being released this month. You'll actually see some down climb on that value, but I think it's pretty decent. It has some great moving parts, and when it pops off, it pops off. Hunters, definitely think solid tier 2. The deck still competes with the tier 2 decks. Once it starts getting to tier 1s, it struggles just a tad bit, but the Restaurant Superior mode that it got and the Tamer is just really good. Gaiamon, I would say, is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's tier 2, but I definitely say tier 3 for now. I I can't put it higher until we get some more better tops. Adventure's definitely fallen down to the wayside, so I would say it's good, but needs a little bit more, or a complete overhaul ban list, right? I will still say Omni, both versions of Omni, the CS one plus the, what should we call it, the Alter S version, which I know I picked up. Both very solid, crazy strong decks. I think they both play Alter S. There's one that pays CS build, the other that doesn't really focus the same way. Both are great decks in their self right. There is a little bit of hybridization and stuff, but at the end of the day, Alter S is just such a powerhouse in its own right. I think if they're going to hit anything, you hit Alter S, because the ability to basically, you know, shoot your stuff out, you get in, take 3, and then just do it again. Some decks cannot handle that, especially because Alter S can answer and then just be able to recovery 1 and Digivolve, well, remove your sources. It's just crazy to me, right? So yeah, that's where we're going at. Then we do have All Force. I definitely say, I wish I could say it's higher, but it's definitely tier 3, even for the expensiveness. Arielmon definitely fallen down a little bit out of favor. I would say probably tier 3, but there's not anything wrong with it. Like, I wouldn't bring it down to tier 4 or dead deck. It's just not there, right? Orisamon. So this card, I'm going to move up just a tad bit. I'm going to say in tier 3 category, but pretty close to tier 2. I'm seeing lists starting to top local events with this. So yeah, Kenny's deck, I would say definitely a dead deck. Just no focus, no filtering. CS. Well, Cyber Sleuth got Takumi, Aviai. And Dynasmon as an option, or Jessamon as a backup. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's a really powerful deck. Players will adapt and evolve with the list, but at the same time, I think this is just where it's going to be at. Plesionomon, I would say good, but definitely needs better support at this point. Even in JP, actually, I'm going to just say, just give it better support. I'll bring it down to tier 4. I haven't seen a single top with the list in JP. Locals, have you guys done it here over our side? Because again, I would love to showcase it, but I just not getting the numbers for it. Bees, the promo plus what it got in the main set was just enough that I think I've seen enough list tops. I think it's a solid tier 2 option. We do have none other than Examon sitting strong at tier 2. I think just one card offsetted this deck just enough for it to be actually competitive viable. Again, sometimes that's all it takes is the champion. The final stage needs to be able to do what the deck needed, right? So they just made one card and boom, especially because it's option hate and other things, which is really cool. Zexin, I would just say it's a dead deck. There's no way anybody's making that work consistently. Grand Drachmon, I would just say give it better support. The old stuff from BT-23 is just not enough for the current stuff, right? So it just needs a decent another wave of support, and I think once it does, it'll be in a good spot. Balfour X, I would say hiding in the tier 2 category, the last tier 2, I would say. Big things about it to take in consideration, right? This deck has a lot going for it. There's a multiple engine thing, but I think even with Fosco coming in and helping the deck out a lot, I think it's in a good spot. Balfa just has a way of OTKing and dealing some great damage. We're looking at Dullahanmon, Ghosties. I would say it's a solid tier, bottom end tier 2. It's great deck. Dullahan is definitely a great local scener, but I don't know if high events you would want to take it. Hoodie, I would definitely say tier 1. the deck has the loop shenanigans, but there's also other variants that you can. So you're never going to really know what you're coming across. You can predict the loop, which again, both versions can play, but one will play more options, others will play more tamers. There's just no wrong answers for Hoodie. Hoodie just does a lot. Mastay CS build, I definitely will put at tier 2. I think it's pretty solid, and the same thing with regular Mastay. If I can grab it, Mastay regular. So I definitely think they're both tier 2 categories. One's being more yellow based Mastay, and this one's being more, you know, Mastaymon CS version. I think both are great options going into this format, and it'll just lead some great interactions and deck building, in my opinion. Creepymon, definitely good, but definitely needs more. War Greymon, solid tier 3. It can pick on the tier 2s, but once you start getting like tier 1 shenanigans, Black War Greymon struggles just a tad bit because, again, they can answer your bodies more comfortably. Mallow, Myotis, would I say it's tier 3? No. Definitely a good local runner. Not as high end as, let's just say, your major events, but, you know, Mallow Loop will surprise you and do a lot of damage. Evil Hunters, just a dead deck. It's just dead on arrival. They just made bad support for it. Dark Knightmon, I would say good, but definitely needs better support at this point. It's got a lot of improvements, but at the same time, so much of a tamer reliant cards in some of the ways here. So yeah, I wish I could go higher, to be honest with you, but I just can't. The fact that they don't have Rush is the biggest downside, in my opinion. Yeah, Pyramidi OTK, stupidly strong. The abusiveness of just the egg is just ridiculous. Taking a look here, we do have Gamamon. I definitely think it's a local runner. Definitely saw some decent lists pop up with it once it got released, but I think it's going to still solidify at tier 2. I'm going to put this pretty close to the top end of tier 2. Bagar Army is seeing some competitive play, and we should respect that. Very pilot dependent, very much high competitors are singing its praises, so just something to think about there. Lucemon's solid. Knowing what you have to do to sacrifice is super important, especially realizing what's available to sack and what's not. Apocally is good, but definitely needs bit more support. It can handle itself in the tier 2 category, but once you're getting to tier 3, yeah. Dustmon is suffering the same fate as all the Appley decks. They're just needs that other wave of support, and I think it would be fine. Could probably handle itself in the tier 2 home field, but yeah. Beelzemon, a smart Beelze player, can definitely do a lot of damage. Knowing when to mill and continue milling versus not is something you need to really think about. Green Ranger sneaks in some top, so yeah, consistently sneaks in almost every format, and I definitely think it's a solid tier 2. Heavy Leo, dead deck, just not haven't done anything. Levia. I definitely think it's still tier 1. It answers a lot of the good field across the board in tier 2, and then starts getting into tier 1. It still can hold its ground, so I definitely think Levia is just going to stay in tier 1. Galaxy, definitely would say tier 2. Even though a lot of people would say, yeah, you should just put a tier 1. No, it's not there. Fanglong, Big Dong, just give it better support. There is a ruin mode version coming out eventually, so we're just holding our breaths that it's going to do something with that. Yeah, we're going to go tier 2 for Demon Lords. The new Demon Lord stuff is helping out. Balfa themed and Beelze themes are really strong for it. Ragna Lord, if you see your pieces, probably would classify a tier 2, but definitely calling it tier 3. Then we have Dynasmon, aka if you take like Mastay and combine it, it can be really nasty. But Dynasmon, 3 Great Angels is just pretty good. Shakomon is pretty decent. But definitely need the one card is stupidly good in Mastay, but could be definitely need some better support. Diaboromon, I'll be straight honest with you, the meta is just shifting up where Diaboromon gets way too much punishment, so I'm gonna say tier 3 for it. Hexablow's version of a deck, tier 3, wouldn't go any past that. Birds, aka Liberator Birds, tier 3. Talkmon is solid, but I would just have to say tier 4. Beelzemon, Ace, 3 Musketeers, pretty decent, but I would definitely put it in tier 3. Lady Davi X, at times I think this deck is slept on a little bit, but you know, tier 3 for now. Heavy Metal Dramon, definitely a dead deck. Dinomon, definitely solid enough to take the tier 2 crowd, but outside of that, I wouldn't go too crazy. Tier 3 for it. Heavy Metal Dramon is still pretty strong. Just taking a look here. Yeah, just be ready for that. I don't know, guys. Sometimes just very interesting. Skittymon, I would just put in tier 4. Definitely needs some more support. Sakuya, definitely solid tier 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it moves once it gets his next wave of support. And the advanced deck moves up to tier 1. But for now, tier 2. Vaga X is just a dead deck in general. Beltmon, definitely solid tier 3. People know what to do with it. Gallant is tier 1. Well, no surprise there. Puppets, I would definitely put it in tier 2. Wing Guardians, I would say tier 4, just needs better support. Battle Core, definitely solid tier 3. I mean, yes, should it go to like tier 1.5? Probably. Machine Dramon, the Vademon edition, we're looking at a solid tier 2 here for this event. Great into majority of the field, but then, you know, the tier 1s start outpacing it and outspeeding it. Chimeramon, taking a look here, second gate. I would say Gatekeepers here, a very solid option. Same thing with Machine Dramon. I would just go just like this, just 3 pieces, and then yeah, if you get it, you get it. Eaters, taking a look here, very solid tier 3. I would love to put it tier 2, but again, we're putting it high tier 3 to hopefully get the you know, the support is enough to trigger it and be really good, but there's just people saying it's not. So guys, what do you think of the tier list? Let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.